relax.
You don't tell me to relax.
Just
All
relax.
right.
You know,
I already pushed
calm
the record button too.
I know I'm not
Mid fight,
blind.
so people could
What do
see
you think
how
Calm
abusive
down.
you
know what I
are
gotta
to
put up
me.
with? You see what I got to put up with all the time over here? Not even on podcasts.
Oh
my
pure,
gosh.
pure, pure grief I get all the time. I had to push it so I could capture it on tape.
Right. Sure you did.
But with that said, welcome to the DukNilla Cast NFL edition. I'm your host, Vanilla James. This is my co-host, the Olduk himself, the man of infinite football and nerdy knowledge.
Did I just see some good news we haven't talked about yet either?
Oh, did you? Do we have breaking news right now?
Well, that's 6 hours ago, but we haven't been paying attention enough, I don't think.
Yeah, breaking news. Let's hear it.
Colts reportedly trade Carson Wentz to the Commanders.
Oh, I knew this already.
What? You didn't even tell me that.
I've been on top of sending you everything, and I didn't send you this. I knew this.
My God.
I have actually
making me look like Ian Rappaport over here. Come on.
I actually pulled up an entire article that I want to bring up about certain QBs like Carson Wentz. Their head coach Frank Wright came out and apologized for vouching for him. And then later in the article, it talks all about like his stance on COVID and the vaccines and stuff like that. And that's what it really had to do with it.
It was a COVID thing.
Yeah,
which is
and
garbage,
everything to do with that, which we see with the grief Rodgers gets. Like nobody cared about Rodgers until he took a hard stance like that. People loved him.
Look at. Is anybody talking about COVID right now?
I mean, people are. Hey, put it this way: we got to watch what we say on here because YouTube's that's why we're not on Twitch no more. We would be banned from Twitch by now.
The thing is, I saw a post with this meme or something on Facebook. Like everybody on Facebook was expert doctors on the COVID. Now all of a sudden we're expert on war and how things should be working and stuff like that. But like even today, I walked into Menards, and I don't know if you know what Menards is.
Yeah.
Do you have Menards out there? I don't know where Menards stretches. You know what I mean? They were big on their COVID masks and putting their signs on and recommended. If you're vaccinated, we recommended you wear a mask, and if you're unvaccinated, you required to wear. I ain't wearing a mask. I never did in that place. And there's nothing. There's no signs up anymore. The employees aren't wearing their mask anymore. It's what happened.
Yeah, I mean,
what happened?
Oh, trust me, I live in Michigan. I'm right here in the metro area in Wayne County, pretty liberal place. I mean, we just got rid of masks in our schools. Daddy James here was getting ready to go to a PTA meeting, and they don't even have school board meetings here. They're all virtual because I was getting ready to be the Karen dad up there.
Yeah.
And, they just sit there, we just got rid of all of it. And I'm here now looking at everyone, I'm like, oh, what, we just ended now? Nobody wants to talk about it?
Yeah. Yeah, just like NFL, right?
Yeah, that's just like football.
Playoffs started.
Well, that's what's funny. COVID? Combine came out, and the Combine came out, and they got rid of every protocol.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
none. There's no more. Now,
what
so what was this whole, we need to make it more difficult for players who aren't so that they feel that they have to? Doesn't that feel predatory now?
Yeah.
That's predatory.
The only people who are still doing this is the NBA. And the biggest, I know we're talking about football, but COVID related is Kyrie Irving, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Unvaccinated, very outspoken about it and talking about it. Cannot play in his home state of New York that team he plays on because of the state policies are still mandated, right? So he plays
stupid, right?
Away games. That's it. That team is tanking. They're barely 500 right now. So you're losing because you just traded one of your best players in James Harden. You're losing because now you got a guy that can't play at home. What kind of joke is this? I know it's real, right? I'm getting that in my head. I understand the severity of what we're going through. But what really frustrates me is this whole how it's being handled has been very political, and that's all it's been, and that's very frustrating to me.
People mention misinformation all the time, and for me, there is misinformation out there. There's also misrepresentation as well. And that's huge.
Absolutely.
It's like we want the science and we want to follow what we can see, the proof, But when we start talking about taking certain things away, like I'm a firm believer in those who would give up freedom for safety deserve neither. That's a famous quote. And that's just me. I've always believed that. And when we looked at numbers for it, the numbers don't match in a lot of aspects, but this is not a COVID talk. We're getting off topic. Right. Let's get into football.
We're going to talk a little bit about it because it has been.
We could have a whole show about it, and maybe that's something we do.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm done with it. I've been over it a long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes to football, right? We talk villainizing players is what we're seeing, and that's what Frank Wright. That's what the Colts are doing. It did with Carson Wentz.
100%.
Carson Wentz refused it. He went through the protocol where he had to wear a mask all season. They tried,
and he did,
and they blamed him for off the field issues. Rodgers, same thing. And then Rodgers came out. They're like, oh, well, he said he's immunized. Well, he said he had it and he's immunized. That's what the science would say.
Mm-hmm.
So, but obviously misled the Packers a bit, and the Packers, I don't care what they did, they knew. It was one of those things like, oh my god, I am so shocked and surprised.
Yeah, don't pull the wool over anybody's eyes. We're not stupid here. We understand that all this stuff is everybody knows what's going on. It's not. If you even believe that it's not, you're living on a rock.
If you look at how they villainized Aaron Rodgers because of his stance, and now they villainize him with a fake reporting of 4 years, $200 million, just to sit there and be like, ha, see, it was all about the money. Oh, look, it was about the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how that was called out so fast.
There's people that still are reporting it.
Oh, I know. It's
Pat
McAfee.
Ridiculous. If you don't watch him, please go watch him. Great podcast. Yeah. Amazing human being. I absolutely adore him and look up to him. He's an amazing guy. Yes, I hope our show can be half of what his show is.
Right. Like, just a scoosh. You know what I mean?
Like just a scoosh.
What's a little scoosh of it? Yeah. You know?
We're two guys in a basement right now. Like that's what we are. We don't have that production
stuff together at the last second. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what we're doing here. So we're getting there.
Absolutely love that, man. But Carson Wentz going to the Commanders. I was high on the Commanders last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I am high on the Commanders again this year.
Yeah, this is big.
I will call it now where I think the Commanders with Carson Wentz, if he stays healthy, because he's as a lot of people say, he's a kamikaze type player. That man puts his body on the line, which I have a huge problem with a running. Like when we talk about running quarterbacks, Carson Wentz is in this category. Protect yourself. I wish this guy would do it more.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy, this team wins. They win their division.
Oh, I totally agree. Even with Dallas in there, right? Yeah, it's the big if, right? Health is his issue.
Well, here's the thing. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that just really, as much as I was against Carson Wentz and kind of putting him, I apologize, Carson, putting you in that tier of Sam Darnold. You're not even close to as bad as he is. So it's not even close in that's factor. But this kid, he's already been in this division, right? This is the Philadelphia Eagles are already in there.
Revenge games, baby.
This could be a great season of watching him come back and playing.
On top of that, he goes and plays Indy next year as well, which after the reports that came out of what they've said about him.
Oh, well, you don't think
he's putting a little extra pep in his step. On top of, you go from playing in Indy to playing in Washington, which to me you have Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel, who are better than the receivers you had in Indy. I mean, you had the one rookie who was it Pittman or really good wide receiver, but not on the tier of Terry McLaurin.
He's a good wide receiver since he played in Philly, and with Deshaun Jackson. He had Deshaun, didn't he? And a couple other players then. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. All they got is a couple third round picks in condition. the
absolute steal.
The next year's 3rd round pick could go to a 2nd round. That's yeah. They won that.
If he's the guy, steal. On top of his salary cap, they absorbed all his salary cap as well, which is it's a decent hit. But Washington has a lot to offer for salary cap. Mentioning salary cap, this is why I think the decline of Dallas is coming, is because we've already paid Dak. And in my opinion, we're paying Dak way too much money. Oh, God. But we're paying Dak way too much money. And on top of that, they just plan on releasing Amari Cooper. There's talks they're going to release Ezekiel Elliott. Who's left on that team? They just tagged their tight end, which I think they needed to do because they have 2 amazing tight ends over there.
Do you think they're going to release Zach or Zeke?
There's reports he's on the market. There is reports.
He's had a couple of subpar seasons, some injuries.
When it comes to like who you're getting rid of, right? I don't know if Jerry, because he's a Jerry guy, right? I don't know if Jerry would release him. Amari's not really a Jerry guy. Amari was a big time free agent they brought in,
right?
And he played better than who he was. Absolutely,
you need to be looking at him right away.
The problem with Amari is, are you willing to pay him Amari money? What do you want? 19 million's a lot of money.
I don't know if he's going to be able to get that much money. I don't think he's, been that, he's had some issues. He said he didn't play all season, right? Didn't he have some injuries throughout the season?
His time from when he played with the Raiders, when he got traded to Dallas, and what he looked like with them, he didn't look that great. But when he went to Dallas, he looked like a brand new player. And the stats between when Dak had Amari and didn't have Amari are night and day. That's why a lot of people were bringing up, can Dak play without him? Now, this is why I always mention, when you pay your QB, you pay him that big money, he's got to learn to play without some pieces. Whether that's on defense and you gotta score every drive or every other drive, you gotta play better than the pieces you're missing. So this is where it starts to come in, where you're gonna start losing people. Now we've learned from the last couple seasons, this is a weapons league. Look at Tampa Bay when they won. How many weapons they have on offense? Every one of their receivers is good. The running backs were good. Tight ends are good. Look at the Rams winning this year. Cooper Kupp, OBJ. I mean, you had Robert Woods.
Right.
Defense, star-studded. Just weapons. So this is definitely becoming a offensive weapon league. And we could get into even other pieces of the Rams. Van Jefferson turning out to be an absolute stud. So teams are realizing you got to start arming yourselves with more pieces. I want to move on a little bit to some of the other. There's some really big QB headlines we need to talk about. We talked about Aaron Rodgers agreeing to stay in Green Bay is the official word right now.
Right.
He is not, according to himself. He has. He has taken the misinformation.
The Pat McAfee source is. We know who that is, right?
Yeah. Their source is.
Yeah.
For 4 year, 200 million is not it.
We don't know what it is.
But he is staying in Green Bay, which means there's a QB carousel that's going around. We'll get into that a little bit. I just want to touch on him. So we had Carson going. We also had the blockbuster trade. Blockbuster trade. Russell Wilson getting traded to the Denver Broncos for a king's ransom of 2 first-round picks. What is it? A third, 3 players, and a third. Yeah. A king's ransom. Who won this trade? I don't know. Who?
Denver won this, 100%. This is a good pickup for Denver. Denver's we were looking at them potential playoffs last year, right? They were right on the cusp. They didn't make it.
They were that weird team. We constantly talked about them where we said they could last year. I talked about they couldn't beat good teams. You know, they beat the bad teams, but they were never like when we talked about them. We weren't talking about QB play. They traded Von Miller and were still winning games.
Right.
They went out there and demolished the Cowboys.
With Bridgewater at quarterback, right? And now you add an all-star quarterback,
Russell Wilson. Who now has look at the receiver core he's got. You got a young guy in Jerry Jeudy. You got a young guy in Sutton, Cortland Sutton. I mean, Noah Fant's gone at tight end, but you still got people. And I think this is just like when Brady went to Tampa. I think players are going to go there. You know, the Seahawks want to claim they're not in rebuild mode, but they dropped Wagner.
Right.
I could see Wagner going to the to the Broncos and rejoining his old team or his old teammate.
Think of what this does to the conferences, right? We're going from Russell Wilson NFC conference. Now he's in AFC. That's huge.
Think about the QBs in that division.
Oh my gosh.
Justin Herbert, Mahomes, Russ.
Yeah.
Whew.
Joe Burrow.
Whew. Oh, if we're going into conference, I meant division, but conference,
I'm talking, division, yeah.
In that whole conference,
that conference is loaded, except for Las Vegas, right? You know, we're not all.
I mean, Derek Carr, I'm not sold on him, but I'm not selling him.
He's on the lower end.
I'm not selling him though. I'm happy with him. I'm not selling him.
I mean, we're seeing that conference, right? It was 12-5 Kansas City, LA or Las Vegas was 10-7. Then you had LA at 9-8 and Broncos at 7-10. I see this flipping. I see Broncos at least being second in the AFC West, possibly surpassing Kansas City because Kansas City is going through a lot of changes as well, right? They're losing people, they're franchise tagging people as well. So we don't know what they're going to be doing.
We also need to know if Mahomes can adapt more. We saw where he did adapt during the end of the season, and I put my foot in my mouth and said they couldn't do it. But you add a Russell Wilson, you no longer have that easy win game, which me in my division games, there no games are given when it comes to the division. But I mean, you now add Russ in there.
Did you see Dan Orlovsky take a bunch of crap about him picking Russell Wilson over Justin Herbert for the next 5 years? Who would you pick for the next 5 years out of those two quarterbacks?
Damn. I would go Russ. I would go Russ because 100%. He's the proven guy.
Oh, exactly. And that's why
the leader. I get goosebumps thinking about it. The leader that Russell Wilson has proven to be. I may not agree with him on everything political, but he is a proven leader. He is a man's man. He could take a team and he elevates it. I don't know that about Justin Herbert yet.
Yeah, right.
Russ does that. Russ is.
We've seen it.
What
has he done the last 10 years? I think. What did they say? He said they've won 10 games every year for the last 10 years. Except for this, this last season, of course.
My prediction when they went under 500 was correct.
It was many years in a row that they were just the high team. I mean, high team doing really well. So, sure, there was a good defense there too, but you got to have a great quarterback to be able to, offset that defense. So, I think it's going to be a good year for them. I see that they're not done. Just because they don't have a first-round picks doesn't mean they don't have any other picks they can use. You know what I mean?
No,
they're still going to keep building that team.
We've seen it. Teams don't. The Rams have traded. They haven't had a first-round pick in years.
Right.
They're willing to mortgage and understand their third-round, fourth-round draft picks is where they're getting. Van Jefferson, what was a third-round pick? He's been an awesome filler. This team knows how to look deep in a draft. I mean, granted, they have to, but they're not afraid to go out and get a guy and be like, listen. I'll take the chance because what I believe like the percentage of boom or bust in the first round is like 50% or something. So instead of taking that risk here, take this pick. I'll take the guy that's proven to be good. Right. And that works out. It worked out for them. Doesn't always work out. We've seen plenty of trades where it's been a complete bust. But at this one, I feel like Denver walked away with it. I mean, there were some reports that some people were saying to get Russell Wilson, you got to give like every first-round pick for as long as he's on the team. Like I heard someone say like that's what they would give, and I'm like, wow. Yeah. I from a GM, I wouldn't give that, but I give you some first. And I love that Denver threw in some players.
Seriously consider it. That's for sure.
Granted, Seattle also got Paxton Lynch. Don't know if that's solid.
That's not. I had high hopes on Paxton Lynch coming in. That was one guy I was like, man, the Browns, I wanted him, and then he's just been, a career backup. There's potential with him. He might not have the best systems that he's played. If he goes to Pete Carroll, he could come out of and play pretty well. He's a tall guy, good quarterback coming out of college. But I don't know.
I mean,
he's definitely it's not an upgrade right now for Russell Wilson. That's for sure.
Yeah. This definitely leads to the carousel a bit here where we have now Russ going to Denver. That means they're not signing Teddy. Teddy's not coming back. I assume not.
Well, so he could be a backup.
Green Bay reports are moving on from Love, the love child of the team. It's time to move on from him. They realize their mistake. So where's he going to go? He's going to be highly, highly wanted. I've heard reports that Mitchell Trubisky is like going to be the all-star free agent QB this year.
How about that? There was reports about him going to Cleveland.
He's the highly touted guy right now.
I don't know about that.
So we have Seattle who now has a vacancy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless they want to pull a Lions Jared Goff where they're like, Paxton's our journeyman guy. But they're telling everybody they're not rebuilding. I mean, I want to briefly talk about some of the QBs left out there, right? All right, we got Andy Dalton, right? Cam, probably still on this list.
Can go retire.
Tyrod Taylor, who I just realized by looking at this is the same age as Cam, 32. Didn't know that. I thought Tyrod was like almost 40.
No.
Jameis Winston is probably Jameis to me and Teddy.
He's number one on my list.
So here we go.
Him and Teddy.
These are the three people the four people that to me are like, there's these people and then there's the rest. All right, actually, I'll say this. There's Ryan Fitzpatrick, who we do believe is retiring officially.
It's magic. Well, he's 39.
Yeah. There's Andy Dalton. To me, Andy Dalton. Him and Andy Dalton are kind of like your old vets. Like they're guys you'd probably rather sign as like a backup and like raise up a young QB. They're not like to me like your starter guys you want to go get. But there's four guys on this list that I think these are like guys you could grab. They could start for you. And you're not totally sold, but you could sell your fan base on. And that's Jameis, Teddy, Marcus Mariota, and Mitchell Trubisky. And there's those four guys, and then there's a sea of backups.
And honorable mentions. Honorable mentions on this list, Cam Newton's on the honorable mention. How about that?
And Cam Newton.
Joe Flacco is probably going to retire.
What about Josh Rosen? Whatever happened to him?
Yeah. Oh, he talked too much smack. He's probably not even NFL anymore.
He was on Atlanta last year.
Brian Hoyer's still on this honorable mention. He's been around the league too.
I mean, they have Big Ben on this list, but Big Ben is gone.
Trevor Simeon's on here. You got Colt McCoy still on this list at 35. He's a decent backup. Here's something when we talked about Andy Dalton. The one thing that he doesn't want to be on, it says 35,279. With Matthew Stafford's win Monday night, Andy Dalton now holds the record for the most career pass yards of 35,279 without a playoff win. Andy Dalton is 0-4 in the playoffs.
My boy Matt Stafford held that title for so long.
Now Big Red's got it. So,
well, my boy, I get goosebumps when you talk about my boy like that. Matthew Stafford, like, listen, we became the Detroit Rams after that.
Right.
I mean, let's talk about. We could briefly talk about some of the QB needy teams, right? I'm gonna go through all 32 teams real quick. We'll either say real quick. I'm gonna try to keep it quick. By the way, I want this episode to be shorter. I was like, well, listen, we're gonna have a shorter episode today.
How about that? Well, go ahead. Let's do it.
All right.
quickly.
So Arizona. We're gonna go through them and we're gonna say like basically I'll wing it. We'll go with it. All right, Arizona. Yep. Are we keeping their QB? Yeah, we're probably keeping Kyler. Reports are they're not happy with him. Kyler wants more money. He's got 2 years left in his contract. But I don't think they're moving anywhere soon.
He had an ending of a good year started and then ended bad. So it's going to be hard. I don't know. It's hard to find another quarterback that'll fit for that, but I wouldn't keep him. I don't know. That's me.
Atlanta Falcons, they should move on.
Right?
They should get rid of this mega contract with Matt Ryan, but I don't know the numbers offhand.
No one's going to take him.
How much money do they save if they release him? I don't know how much is guaranteed. I don't know.
Probably not. Yeah, I don't know if there's any guarantee on that.
But I mean, they need to.
Remember?
I can't recall. But I think they need a new QB or at least someone to bring in behind Matt Ryan. Maybe you draft one. Carolina Panthers. I know you hate Sammy D. I love Sammy D. I don't think they need a new guy.
I don't say hate, but he's not a starting quarterback.
Whoa. I disagree.
Not even close.
Disagree.
Not even close. Oh my gosh! Just because he's rushing touchdowns, you keep bringing up all the time, doesn't mean he's worth starting a quarterback.
I love Sammy. No, I like him a lot. I don't think they do. I think you could even bring Cam back, Sammy D, and you roll with it.
No, you go something else.
Chicago Bears have their guy in Justin Fields, so they don't need to be moving on. Dallas, they can't move on. They got Dak.
They're good.
Detroit needs one.
Detroit needs to, but they ain't
$26 million in free agency cap. One of the teams with the highest in the NFC.
They're not picking the quarterback second overall.
There's reports they are. But I've also heard that they should be reporting they're taking a QB so they could trade that pick. No, because Houston at number 3 will be taking a QB.
Mm-hmm.
They will be. So any team that falls in love with a guy, if you want that guy before Houston, you better trade Detroit. And I'm helping gas like that so my team could trade back a little bit.
I don't need to be. You need to be drafting people that can actually help.
Well, I mean, the report is, we goofed up and lost our first round, the number 1 overall, and could get Adrian Hutchinson, who's now reported he might go number 1. And that's the only guy I'm in love with, and that's who a lot of fans, that's the only guy they're in love with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's move on. Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
Pat, you have your guy in Rodgers now, making him happy, moving cap money around. I love seeing it too. They need to. Moving Jordan Love is probably a huge move.
Mm-hmm.
Rams, they have their guy. Nothing. Yeah. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins. That's probably a good questionable one. I think you could stick with Kurt. I think he's still a guy. He's got a lot to prove. I think he's so like there's serviceable QBs, and then there's like above average. Like he's above that.
Yeah.
Would you rather have him? Would you rather have Kirk Cousins or one of the 4 guys that we named? Jameis,
Kirk,
Teddy,
for sure.
Marcus. Trubisky,
Kirk, because of his leadership. He's got really good leadership. He's a really good guy. I love the guy. I think he's a good fit, but I think he just got overpaid for what he's performing at. But yeah, I think they're going to stick with him.
I think our favorite lightning rod team is the New Orleans Saints, who next episode we might talk more about them. I haven't not paid attention to their salary cap woes. I don't even know how this team signs a QB at this moment.
Well, they're going to keep James. I don't think they're going to go away from him.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not even on the. He's not even on guy. Yeah, you got to sign him.
Yeah,
they don't have money. They don't have money. He's going somewhere else.
They're going to get him.
Sean Payton's gone.
Yep.
Everyone's leaving that ship.
Yeah, we'll see.
New York Giants. They are in reports to sign a QB.
Who knows?
I believe they are the leading person to pick up Trubisky right now. And and you got Daniel Jones. You have Daniel Jones.
Yeah, is that an upgrade over Daniel Jones?
I don't know. I wasn't totally unsold on Daniel Jones. I also think that the Giants have made some terrible free agency moves.
Absolutely.
Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts. I've heard some reports of Jalen Hurts being on the trade market. But I don't believe that. I'm not sold on that at all.
Yeah.
I think they got their guy. They're not moving. Speaking of teams that have someone on the block, San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, what are they doing? We have
Jimmy
no idea,
G
right?
is on the block. He is up for trade. Trey Lance is their guy. Jimmy made that very open statement on the podium. So he's going. I find it hard to believe he won't be somewhere else next year. So I think he's the next piece. Like, we see the carousel of trades happening. Now we have these guys that are still available, like Jimmy G, like your Jordan Love. You know, we got these guys that are still available. I think he's going somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't say think. I'm very certain. Seattle Seahawks. They're looking.
They gotta find something. Draft, whatever. I mean, they got draft picks now, so
yeah, they got them. They'll probably be drafting one. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, pure panic mode. They need one.
Yeah.
Washington Commanders just got theirs.
They got theirs. Yep.
And they always felt like they were a QB away from making the move. And I mean, we said it at the beginning of the season this year. We felt the same.
Yeah, we talked a lot about their defense. They had a pretty good defense, pretty strong throughout the year. Offense was their struggle. So
I want to point out, okay, so we just went through all the NFC, right? And we talked a lot about teams needing QBs. We talked about teams that have QBs. You know, like they're good, but you know, I'm gonna go through elite QBs real quick, okay? I'm just gonna go back through, and I'm not counting Kyler Murray as like an elite guy either.
No.
Okay. And I'm not counting Dak.
There's only two.
There's Rodgers, Stafford.
That's it.
There's
only two in that. So every other team is questionable on their QB right now.
Yeah, that's it. Now,
and it's only because Rodgers came back, right, to Green Bay. He didn't go to Denver or some other team that they were looking at.
Now we're going to get into the AFC. That picture is going to be a lot different. And we're starting with the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy, he's all-star. Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen.
Yep. Stout.
Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Joe Cool.
There's three already. We already got three more.
Our first three
NFC
are better.
Right?
I mean, our next four get real. I mean, our next three are the most, which is you get to Cleveland. I think Baker's fine. I think they need more moves for receiver.
Right. Oh, they've got to draft. The receiver is a big. Free agent draft.
I was saying free agent. They need something.
Receivers. And then we can draft some other players that we need.
Denver Broncos. You got Russ. I said next three. I like literally forgot the Broncos got Russ. So back that up. That's another all-star QB. You got Russ. The Texans are probably the biggest one that need a QB and their reports are by the end of the week we'll know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. He's not. If I'm Deshaun, I'm not playing for this team even if everything goes well because they threw you out. They left you outside. They didn't want nothing to do with you. They left you hanging. I'm moving on, going somewhere else. So that's another team that needs a QB. That's another potential QB that could land somewhere with a big name.
That's the first one out of this group of what we talked about, 6 or 7 so far. You know, that's the first one that we've on the AFC.
That's the first one that needs a QB.
Right. Or even question. There's no question on the other teams.
I mean, the Browns, people can make an argument.
Nah, there's no question on that.
We don't feel that way, but there are people that will.
Yeah, there's Browns fans will question it because they're stupid and they think that just because you have a quarterback that got injured, do they not remember 2 years ago? The last 2 seasons have been decent. The third season, we won 1 game and then didn't win any, and now they're thinking they're all high and mighty. They need to just calm the flip down, stick with Baker, Get him injury free. Let's go through a season of him playing well, and he's going to be fine. I have no question about him.
Our next team, the Indianapolis Colts. Just traded Wentz. They need a QB.
What are they going to do? Yeah, there's another question, right?
I think they're going to go out and make a move for a big guy.
Yeah,
I think they're making a move.
Jimmy G is their key guy. I haven't even looked or seen anything about it, but I think that might be.
have some good names for teams to go after. And this is probably the one year where we've seen the most moves for QBs from other teams.
Oh, my gosh. I was just going to say that. It's been unbelievable.
We've had back-to-back breaking news. Next up, Jacksonville Jaguars. There's Trevor Lawrence, the supposed prodigy.
From him right now.
They're not moving. You got a new head coach. You got rid of the toxic coach.
One more year right there with him, you know.
And he flashes. When I see him play, I feel like he should be really good. Like he feels it. He looks it. The way he throws it but I think he's been tainted by this past head coach. And I think the whole team is. And they got a whole culture rebuild to go through. Casey, as much as I put the Mahomes and the Mahomies down,
they're solid.
All-star QB.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. Las Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr, I think he's a serviceable starter. I don't think you're looking for a QB.
There's talks of them looking for one. I mean, that's has been even throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't see them going for anywhere. You know, if anything, it is a Jimmy G type of thing. I don't know what else they're going to upgrade.
I think Jimmy G and Derek Carr are a great comparison in ways where like they're hated but loved.
Right.
Los Angeles Chargers.
Gosh, Jimmy G's a good-looking dude, though. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna put it out there.
Every time,
man. Every time I see him, I'm like,
you start Doug. You are blushing.
Woo!
Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, they're good.
Justin Herbert. You know what? You're fine.
Yeah.
They also just re-signed Mike Williams.
Yeah, they're good for a little
while. Miami Dolphins. I think they need a new QB. Not sure. But the fact that they've moved on from their head coach, to me, says they are sold on Tua.
Yeah.
And there you go. Yeah. I think they are sold on Tua. They ain't going for a QB.
They picked one or the other.
Yeah,
and they went with the QB. So you're right.
I think if they bring, I think they might. I don't think they're going out of their way to bring someone in.
No,
I don't think they're overpaying for a Jameis. I think if they got like a guy that they could bring in and maybe, I wouldn't even say compete, just to be a solid backup. New England Patriots, Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac Jones. He's good.
Yep. Nope. Not
going anywhere.
New York Jets. Zach Wilson. I just don't think he's had enough time yet. I don't think they're looking.
That team's not.
He looked terrible, by the way. Last year, he looked terrible.
Oh, yeah, but we've seen a lot of great quarterbacks look terrible
I was just going to say that.
This isn't just a quarterback issue on this team. This whole team has just been trash for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's their issue, is not just him. It's about what the pieces can be put around that. I will always forever go back to the offensive and defensive lines. I think those are the most important parts outside of your quarterback that you need to be taken care of.
Oh, you give me goosebumps.
You got a better offensive line. I like the big boys. Come on now. Let's do it.
Sexy Rexy.
Oh, gosh. Right?
When Sexy Rexy coached this team, that's what big boys, moving bodies, defensive mind. Woo! I love Sexy Rexy. Butt fumble happened, even with the butt fumble, Mark Sanchez went to the playoffs, baby. Just remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Pittsburgh Steelers. They need a QB. Desperately need a QB. There's been reports of them drafting a QB. There's a lot of reports of them drafting a QB. Very needy team. What you think about them?
Mm-hmm. What team again? Sorry, I had a text.
I'm like, this man didn't even hear me. Pittsburgh Steelers, man.
Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean,
they need one.
We talked about.
Mason Rudolph ain't the guy, right?
Mason Rudolph, helmet dude, dented head.
Oh yeah. Oh, listen, just because your boy Myles Garrett was swinging his helmet around.
Yeah, he put a whooping on that boy.
Myles Garrett deservedly lost some time.
I didn't really, even before that, I didn't think he was the quarterback for that team.
He plays better than Ben. I think this team's going to be better just because you don't have Ben anymore. And I not a huge knock on Ben for his career, knock on him for his old age, and just to me not being able to drive the ball anymore.
Yeah.
So I think this team's going to just be better because Ben's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, their head coach, probably one of the better, he's top 5 for sure. Mike Tomlin never had a losing season. Right. Think about that. That's unbelievable in the NFL these days. I know you hate Pittsburgh as a Cleveland guy, but one of the best head coaches in the game.
Very much.
One of the best.
Oh, 100%. Very good. Yeah, they're going to do something. I'm not going to not look at them. This division is going to be a pretty tough division again, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're looking at all these guys that are available. I go back to Jimmy G. I think he's an option still. There was talks of Aaron Rodgers.
Your love for Jimmy G.
I'm just saying, I think out of any of the quarterbacks available,
Jimmy G.
He's the best one available.
You're over here writing your love note.
No, come on. I'm just saying, out of any of the quarterbacks available, he's the best available. Even out of Jameis Winston, out of Teddy Bridgewater, I think overall he's the best quarterback available. He was in the playoffs last year. He got the team to the playoffs. He was playing. And now he's looking at it for a different team. I think that's ridiculous in the first place. But I think that could be a fit for him in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think Jimmy G fits.
Not want him there, no, because I want somebody crappy there.
Bill Belichick was furious that they traded Jimmy G. I think it worked out in the end for him, getting Mac Jones falling into his lap. But you might not have had that headache with Jimmy G. If Brady leaves and people are like, "Yeah, we got Jimmy G, Jimmy G."
Right.
Last team up though, Tennessee Titans. They are from an ownership. They committed to Ryan Tannehill. They've already said it for the year. So I don't think they are in the market to go get one of these guys. I don't see them drafting one unless one that they fall in love with falls to them, but I don't see them in the market. I just don't. I think they might sign one of these guys as a savvy veteran backup, but
right.
I don't think it's competition to Ryan Tannehill. No. Any last thoughts?
No. I think I'm good.
You think you're good?
Yeah, there's nothing else popping out. I already thought I had the news before you did, and then I didn't even find out about it.
I was just about to go, breaking news! Doug has old news that James already knows about.
Unbelievable.
We started on it. We'll end on it. Hey, but everybody, we want to thank you. I wanted this episode to only be 30 minutes tops. I got the 43. I know I talk forever, but it's what I do. No. This is like you said, this is like 80% me and 20% you. I feel so bad now when you brought it up. I'm like, man, I interrupt this guy a lot. I'm like, dang.
No. I just let you do.
That's my personality, I guess.
That's how it is.
I gotta interrupt your crap. All right.
If we didn't have you, we had two of me. This would be 15 minutes tops. You know what I mean?
You ain't lying.
2 episodes worth. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay.
But again, thank you guys for watching exclusively on YouTube. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Be on the lookout. Might have some shorts coming in. You never know. Some breaking news shorts. Some me screaming. Running to my computer. Hey, breaking news! Ian Rappaport got it wrong!
Right.
All right, but thank you. Good night.
All right.
We'll see you next time.